Hi, my name is Million Chen, and I'm presenting to you today about a unique and endangered species, the African wild dog. What are they, and what makes their hunting strategy so efficient, and what makes them endangered? As a starter, I'd like you to engage in an activity, a mini quiz. Now, out of all the pictures of the animals here, which one do you think is the African wild dog? There are 8 pictures. They're all real species, but only one is the African wild dog. I'll give you a few seconds. And the answer is this one. The top row from the left to the right are the dhole, spotted hyena, dingo, and the boroboa, a domestic dog. On the bottom row are the jackal, African wild dog, African golden wolf, and striped hyena respectively. While they're all fascinating, the African wild dog is who we will be focusing on today. Now, to really start, African wild dogs. The scientific name for them is Lycaon pictus. They can be found on the open plains, savanna, and sub-Saharan parts of Africa. They have a variety of common names, ranging from hunting dog, painted dog, Cape hunting dogs, to painted wolf, subsequently also the meaning of their scientific name. Their name comes from their colored coat, looking like paint across a canvas. There can be up to 16 or 21 pups in a litter, but the average and usual amount is 10 to 12. In the case where there is not enough nourishment or there is stress, the amount of pups might be less. In the wild, they can live up to 9 to 10 years, and in zoos they can live up to 10 or 13. As you've seen on the quiz slides, they are not hyenas, though many often mistake them for one. African wild dogs are a species, with 5 subspecies. Hyenas, or Hyenidae, are a family, with 4 species, the spotted brown, striped hyenas, and the aardwolf. Hyenas are more closely related to cats, in fact, rather than dogs. African wild dogs are not dogs or wolves like their common names say, however. They are more closely related to the base of the wolf-like canids, said to have split from their canid ancestors about 3 million years ago, according to fossil records. They were once placed in the same grouping as dholes and bush dogs, and even once with hyenas, but as research improved, their taxonomy was clarified, and they are now the only living species of their genus. They are still in the family Canidae, though, which contains other canines like wolves, jackals, dholes, coyotes, and dogs. They have a multicolored painted coat of yellows, whites, tans, blacks, and browns. Not one coat is identical to another individual, though it is said that close relatives have similar coloration. Their lean frames and long legs work extremely well for endurance and speed, 2 things that they have an advantage in when hunting. Unlike other canines, they only have 4 toes on each foot instead of 5 as a result of evolution. They can be 84 to 141 centimeters long, with females slightly longer, and 61 to 76 centimeters at the shoulders. They weigh up to 18 to 34 kilograms, with males slightly heavier. Like other canines, they have an acute sense of smell and keen ears. Their rounded ears also help them keep cool and dissipate excess heat in the hot climate of Africa. A key factor in this species is their hunting strategies. They use cooperative hunting, one that requires multiple members to attack and kill prey than just one individual. Often, with the collaboration of other members, they will be able to tackle larger prey. Some argue that the larger prey are required to feed more in the pack, but it is still a very effective way of hunting. They usually hunt twice in a day, once in the morning at dawn and one at dusk, which makes them crepuscular hunters. At the start of it, pack members make sneezes, and the more sneezes there are, the more likely there will be a hunt. This is a voting method. One individual is always delegated to watch over the pups in the den whenever there is a hunt. They can run up to 70 kilometers per hour or 44 miles per hour. This is slower, half as fast as the speed of an impala, at about 144 kilometers or 90 miles per hour. They have endurance running, however, and impalas don't. They can run for long distances at the consistent speed, but impalas are unable to. Sooner or later they would slow down, and the dogs would be able to outrun the impala. They wait until the prey collapses of exhaustion and kill it, gathering mouthfuls and saving it for all the pack members back in the den. The game plan is ingenious. The large pack of dogs are utilized well. They spread out, lead dogs charging into the impala herd. This causes the impalas to spread, letting them pick out the one they are after. The pack fans out to the sides, some pursuing on the flanks and others at different locations. Once a target is established, all of them train their focus on them. Flanking pursuers will prevent the zigzagging impala from escaping, and eventually cage them in. African wild dog hunts are extremely successful. 85% of them are successful, compared to 25% for lions. Unfortunately, many of their kills are stolen by lions, hyenas, vultures, and other predators. While they may outnumber them in size, they are still often at a rivalry. Hyenas and lions often steal their kills, and even target their pups at times. As a pack species, they're highly social. They're always led by an alpha female and alpha male, who are the only individuals that reproduce each year. Packs can be from numbers from 5 to 20, but can extend up to 30 or 40. Unlike many other species, African wild dogs care for their old and injured. While many animals with injuries that prevent them from hunting will be left for dead or deemed a burden, they will nurse and feed the individual until they are well enough to hunt and join in when they are healthy again. They use a number of vocalizations to communicate. When the original alpha has passed away, they use a series of haunting hoots to vote and choose their new leader. At the start of the day, usually before the hunting begins, there is a greeting ceremony where they dive under each other, communicate with clicks and chirps, run shoulder to shoulder, and nudge each other's snouts. It happens every morning. They also often play together, strengthening their bonds even more. They are the largest canid in Africa and feast upon many prey like gazelles, kudus, impalas, duiker, puku antelope, wildebeest, zebra, and the occasional warthog. When the members return from the hunt, they let the younger ones eat first, especially the pups. They regurgitate the food and help the pups get used to eating solid food. Unfortunately, the African wild dog is endangered. They have been for over 20 years, and their numbers have not been getting better. They are the only species left in their genus, Lycaon. They face many threats. One of them includes being caught in snares and traps set by illegal poachers wanting to catch and sell bushmeat. The cord tightens around its victims, and they do not discriminate. Many animals are caught in them, elephants, lions, and others. In a documentary I recently rewatched, an African wild dog suffered from being caught in a snare and passed away as a result of their injuries. Habitat loss is another big factor. They need a large amount of space to hunt and live, as they constantly move around. Their territories can extend up to 1,000 square kilometers. In fact, there are only 6,600 individuals left in the entire continent of Africa. That number may seem like not so daunting, but that number is equivalent to the maximum capacity of a large cruise ship. Now imagine that cruise ship on the Pacific Ocean. What is one ship to a vast ocean? No one can see that from space. Their numbers have diminished so much, it's vital to protect them now. To add on to that, only 1,400 of them are mature individuals able to reproduce. That's about 21% of the population. Many pups can also die while growing, a target to many of their predators such as lions, hyenas, and crocodiles. As only the alpha male and female are allowed to breed, I think the number that are actually reproducing are even lower. 90% of their original habitat has been lost. They were once abundant in 39 countries, but are now only limited to small pockets of reserve and park in 15 countries. They are now regionally extinct everywhere else. They only occupy 7% of their original terrain now, which is quite a significant drop. African wild dog habitat has to be expansive for them to be able to hunt. There have been many national parks set up for animals in Africa, but they are separated into small pockets. This means they need to cross human settlements to get to different parts of their territory. It puts them in danger of becoming roadkill and experiencing things they may not have in previous generations. This competition for limiting space has also caused conflicts between packs. Their land is constantly being surrounded by humans, lions, and hyenas, all land they need to avoid. Therefore, the only way to expand their territory to feed their pack will be to invade another wild dog pack and take their territory. Studies have shown that habitats need to be diverse and rugged, enabling wild dogs to hide and live in the same areas as lions without causing distress and conflict. Their habitat used to span across the entire continent of Africa, but are now mostly found only in the southern area of Africa. Why are African wild dogs so important? Why do we need to save them? Well, they are one of the most unique predators in the world, and the only species left in their genus. All others have gone extinct, and if African wild dogs are lost, the whole genus would never be seen again. Because they eat antelope, they indirectly help control the amount of grasses that are consumed and grazed by the antelopes, keeping the environment balanced. In the past, farmers have shot and killed African wild dogs, blaming them for loss of livestock, when other animals such as hyenas were to blame. When parks were first introduced, African wild dogs were not a species they set out to preserve. As space becomes scarcer and scarcer, the outlook on African wild dogs becomes as foggy as ever. Habitat loss, competition, and poaching threats make the situation more dire. What can we do to help? Luckily, many conservation groups, organizations, foundations, and programs are helping, and have helped for many years on end. They have dedicated their efforts to protecting animals in Africa, to African wild dogs, or to the whole world of animals as a whole. As they're a non-profit, donations to these groups can be crucial to directly helping African wild dogs. Education is another, equally important factor. Teaching others about African wild dogs and the crises they face will help spread the word. The more people know about it, the more action will commence, and things can be set into motion to save them. As a whole, supporting sustainable goods and services will always help. As they are caught by poachers, Buying sustainably sourced food and meat will especially help. Help now, while there is still a chance. Help African wild dogs become a common sight and not just a rarity. Help them be healthy and ensured of a future. There are many organizations that support African wild dogs. From left to right is Painted Dog Conservation, who participated and researched and helped with the BBC documentary series Dynasties. CITES, or the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, that help endangered animals. The Zambian Carnivore Program, which helped in tracking down African wild dogs as part of their research and in aid of BBC Earth's documentary series The Hunt. In the middle is San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. They have been raising money, providing education, and spreading awareness about protecting all animals. At the last row, IUCN, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, have been assessing and helping endangered and threatened animals. African Wildlife Foundation, BBC Wildlife, and the WWF, or Worldwide Fund for Nature, make the last row. Please go check them out if you haven't already. They are great organizations to get familiar with. These are all my resources I've used for this presentation. They include books and websites. The top 2 pictures are pictures I took while at Honolulu Zoo in Oahu. I had a chance to see some adult African wild dogs, as well as 7 puppies. They were playing and exploring while I saw them. This is also to say, August 26th is African Wild Dog Day, so don't forget to show your support for them either by advocating or by other ways on this day. I'll leave you off with a quote from Dr. Matt Becker from the Zambian Carnivore Program, one he said in the BBC Earth documentary The Hunt. He said, "There's nothing like wild dogs, and if we lose them, there will never be anything like them again." Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed learning about African wild dogs.